Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey there, Nation. Welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome to another edition of Warhammer Wednesdays, where we showcase weekly Warhammer Fantasy Battle Reports with our series, The Golden Age. And this is Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report number 104. It is a 3,000 point battle that is fought between High Elves as well as Bretonnians. My friend Fresh Prince Belair is bringing House Lainel, the Silvery host of Caledor, and I'll be playing the Blackstone Crusade of the Bretonnians. So this is the second battle I've actually played with my brand new 3,000 point Bretonnian army, and just like in the previous armies that we've had on this channel, I'm going to take my Bretonnians and make them run the gauntlet of every single army that's in our studio. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play some background music real quick. As the music is playing, we'll show you pictures of both armies as well as the army list for both of them. If you want to see exactly what we're bringing for this battle report, you can pause, take a look at your legion on the battle list, or you can look down in the descriptions down below and you can see the army list located there as well. So with that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Crom, I've never prayed you before. I have no tongue for it. No one, not even you, will remember if we were good men or bad. Why we fought, or why we died. No. All that matters is that two stood against many. That's what's important. Balor pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then to hell with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
So the scenario rules for this one is Battle Line. It is the most typical game of Warhammer that we play on this channel with standard deployment as well as standard victory conditions. So with the scenario rules over, let's go and talk about the battle plan for this scenario. So here's an overhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield. As you can see, we're playing on a 4x6 table. Fresh Prince Belair is deployed on the near side of the table, while I'm deployed on the far side of the table. And pretty much Fresh Prince Belair is kind of again for this semi-castle formation where he's kind of bumped up his forces onto the left-hand side of the table, protecting his left-hand flank, leaving only the front as well as his right-hand flank exposed for the most part. So I'm going to have my work cut out for me. Just like last time when I played my Bretonnian armies, I pretty much divided my army into two halves. I have my infantry forces as well as most of my knights of the realm as well as my questing knights on the left-hand side. That's going to be my center. And I have my Grail Knights as well as another unit of Knights Errant as well as questing knights to be a flanking element. I'm going to try to engage his infantry forces in the center with my own infantry forces as well as my column of Knights of the Realm as well as questing knights, pin his center forces down, at the same time try to maneuver and flank on the right, try to take out his cavalry forces and catch him in development. That's pretty much my plan on kind of going on this one. I'm planning on keeping my Grail Knights and try to focus them directly towards that Dragon Mage of Caledor that my opponent has as well. So I got to a little work cut out for me as well. And to make matters worse, I am going against bolt throwers on this one. My opponent, Fresh Prince Belair, has 3 of them, and if he decides to do a single shot with the bolts, there's no armor saves on that, which can be really devastating for my army as well. So I do have to be careful about that. At the same time, he also has multiple shots with armor piercing, so like I said before, I got my work really cut out for me on this one. So with my battle plan over with, let's go and talk about deployment real quick. Alright, so starting off with House Lainel, the Silvery host of Caledor. In the back, on the top of that hill there, we have the Reigns of Caledor. Those are 3 Eagle Claw bolt throwers. And the unit in front of them is called the Ever Wardens, a unit of 25 Phoenix Guard with Musician as well as Standard Bearer. They also have the Banner of Eternal Flame on that unit as well. Right next on the right hand side, that is a Lord Master's Blades. It is a unit of 28 Sword Masters of Hoeth with full command. They're packing great weapons as well as heavy armor. They also have the Banner of the World Dragon, giving them 2 up armor save. 2 armor saves, 2 up ward saves against magical attacks, which is actually kind of nice. And leading that unit is actually 2 different characters. First of all, we have the Army's General, which is Lord Tywin Lainel, the Silver Warden of Caledor. He is a prince who's also the general of his army. He's got heavy armor as well as lion cloak. He's got the Ogre Blade for 2 up armor save, a 4 up ward save with the Shield of Murworm for parry saves, as well as a Talisman of Preservation. And next to him is Tytos Lainel, the Lord Master of Caledor. He's a Lord Master of Hoeth, level 2 wizard with the lore of battle magic, so he has all 8 signature spells. He's packing a great weapon as well as heavy armor. He's also got the Book of Asher for +1 casting and +1 dispel, and the Talisman of Endurance for a 5 of ward save. And making up his right flank somewhat, right there in front of me, we have a huge unit of Dawn Guard called the Dawn Guards, 23 Lothar Sea Guard full command. They have spear, bow, light armor, as well as shields. And leading that unit, of course, is Tanis Lainel, captain of the Dawn Guard. He's a Lothar Sea Helm. He's the army's battle standard bearer. He's also got spear, light armor, and shield. He's packing the Reaver bow. And right behind them is a Dragon Mage of Caledor called Rossum Lainel. He's a level 2 wizard with lore of fire. He's equipped with Fireball as well as Flaming Sword of Ruin. He's also wearing dragon armor. He's got the Sword of Might for +1 strength, Charm Shield for 2 of ward save against war machines, and a Ruby Ring of Ruin, so that way he can fire Fireball twice. And he's riding on a Sun Dragon named Pyrite. And finally, on the right-hand side there, we have a unit called the Silver Sentinels. These are 10 Silverhelm Knights with full command. They're equipped with lances, heavy armor, and shields, and bartered elven steeds. On the left-hand side, vanguarded up slightly, is the Word Bearers. It's a unit of 5 Illyrian Reavers with spears, bows, as well as light armor mounted on elven steeds. And finally, on the right-hand side, we have another unit of 5 Illyrian Reavers. Those are the Silent Striders, and they're equipped with exactly the same with spears, bows, light armor, as well as elven steeds. Alright, so we go across the other side of the table to my army, which is the Blackstone Crusade. Starting on my left-hand flank in the back, we have a unit called the Bowmen of Baritz. It is a unit of 20 bowmen, peasant bowmen. They're armed with longbows, defensive stake, as well as braziers, so they have flanking attacks and defense against cavalry. In front of them is another unit of 24 men-at-arms called the Ravenzand Guards. They have standard bearer as well as musician. They're packing halberds, light armor, as well as shields. And vanguard up slightly is a unit of 5 yeomen with crossbows and horses called the Riom Hussars. And then finally, right next to them on the right-hand side is the Templars of the Dawn. As you have 9 questing knights with full command. They have great weapons, heavy armor, shields, as well as barded war horses. So, make up the center of my army. On the left-hand side, that unit is called the Pride of Lioness. As you have 10 Knights of the Realm with full command. They have lances, heavy armor, shields, as well as barded war horses. And leading that unit is actually 2 of my special characters. We have Rapunzel de Lioness. She's a special character. She's my army's battle standard bearer. She's got the Sword of Lioness, making magical weapons mundane, as well as the Fleur de Lis banner as well. And right next to her is my Prophet of the Lady, which is Warren the Hermit of Shalon. He's a Prophet of the Lady. He's got a border war horse. Level 4 Wizard, Lord of the Lady. He's got Steed of the Lady, Duel McDuel, Spiteful Glance, and the Lady's Virtue of Valor, as well as the Silver Mirror as well. Right in front of them in the front is the unit called the Darney Rangers. It's a unit of 5 yeomen with crossbows, and they're the vanguard up slightly. And finally on the right-hand side, we have the Blackstone Legion, a unit of 10 Grail Knights with full command, lances, heavy armor, shields, bartered war horses, as well as Grail Vows. They're packing the banner defense, giving them a 4 of ward save against shooting attacks, as well as magic missiles. And leading that unit, of course, are 2 of my characters. We have my general. Her name is Remy de Apion. She is the Duchess of Lioness. She's the Bretonnian Lord, who's also the general of my army. She's got Shield, Barter Wars, as well as Grail Vow. She's got the Virtue of Knightly Temper, Sword Lady's Champion, as well as Serene's Locket. And also locating that unit as well is Corbin of the Ravens. He's a Monk of the Lady. He's my riding a Barter War Horse, level 2 Lore of the Lady. He's got the Steel of the Lady spell, as well as Wrath of Righteousness. He's also packing a Dispel Scroll. And following the right-hand flank, I got 2 more units. On the left-hand side, those are the Silver Squires. There's a unit of 9 Knights Errant with full command. They have lances, heavy armor, shields, bartered war horses. They also got the energy banners. And right next to them on the right-hand side is my last unit of questing knights called the Hedge Knights. There are 8 questing knights with full command, great weapons, heavy armor, shields, and bartered war horses. And leading that unit is one of my paladins. His name is Lair of the Beasts. He is a paladin packing a great weapon, shield, bartered war horse, as well as a Grail Vow. He's got the Virtue of Duty as well as a Curious of Fortune. And that pretty much makes up my army's deployment on this one. Alright, so that takes us right to the top of turn 1, and obviously the Hyos go first because I'm Bretonnian and I don't go first because I want to get the Blessing of the Lady so I get my warn-up saves. And this photo is taken at the moon phase, and as you can see, for the most part, the only elements that move for Fresh Prince Bel-Air's army is his right-hand flank. The rest of his infantry forces stay exactly where they're located at because it makes no sense for them to move up forward. Pretty much, he basically moves up the Silent Striders as well as Word Bearers, again blocking positions to surround the Chasseurs of Lahar, which is one of my unit of yeomen up there in the front there. They got crossbows and mounted horses. He then also moves up the Silver Sentinels as well as Rossum Lainel and Pyrite, kind of using the Caledor, the Dragon Mage of Caledor to protect his right-hand flank of his Silver Helm Knights. It looks like he's kind of positioning there to kind of bait my forces to charge forward for the most part. And that pretty much makes up his move phase for this one. So here's a close-up of the Everwardens, the Lore Master's Blades, as well as the Dawn Guard to stand their ground for the most part. And here's a close-up of the Silver Sentinels, as well as the Word Bearers, and Lainel, and Pyrite moving up the right-hand side. And finally, here's a close-up of the word bearers on the far right-hand flank of the battlefield. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. Alright, so because we go directly to the magic phase, we skip that for the most part because I was able to stop most of the spells, and we go directly to the shooting phase. And you can see in this photo, some shooting has basically happened on the right-hand side. The Chasseurs of La Arve, my unit of 5 yeomen, got shot off the table right off the bat by Illyrian Reavers opening fire on them. At the same time, you can see there my Darnay yeomen, my Darnay Rangers on the left-hand side there. They also took some shots from being shot at from long range by the members of the Dawn Guard, so that part was kind of sad. Luckily for me, though, that unit has what's called the Peasants' Duty Special Rules, which means they could use night unit leaderships for more than 8 inches of them, but my general's right there anyway, so they had no problem passing their panic check, which is kind of nice. However, what was not so nice, though, was my poor unit of Knights of the Realm, the Pride of Linus. That unit got cut down pretty much in half. I only got 3 Knights of the Realm left with my level 4 caster as well as my special character Battle Center Bearer. Those guys got shot to pieces. And the reason why is because my friend Freshman's Blair opened fire with multiple shots we decided to do on this one, not to do the single shots. He opened with multiple shots from his 3 bolt throwers from the Reigns of Caledor, and they opened up directly and concentrated fire directly onto the Pride of Linus. So because of that, that unit got cut in half. Luckily for me, I passed my leadership test to not panic, and so that unit is now standing there. And it's pretty much been gutted for the most part, so that unit is almost combat ineffective. So with the shooting phase over with, we skip combat phase because no one's engaged in close combat, and we go directly to the bottom of turn number 1 for the Bretonnians. So that takes directly to the bottom of turn number 1 for the Bretonnians, and this photo is taken after the move phase. And as you can see in this photo, I charge on the right-hand flank. The first thing I do, of course, I send in my Silver Squires, my unit of 9 Knights Errant, as well as my Darnay Rangers. They go into a pincer attack directly into the Word Bearers right there. So the Silver Squires in the front, with yeomen on the flank. I then declare a charge with my unit of questing knights, which are called the Hedge Knights. Those guys go charging across the battlefield directly into close combat with Lainel as well as with Pyrite. And the reason why I did that is because I could not maneuver my Grill Knights in order to get to that Dragon Mage. So the next best thing, of course, is to use questing knights because they always have great weapons that gives them 2 up strength. And plus, when they charge with the new Warhammer Armies Project blog, they don't have to always strike last. They can just strike like normal, so that's kind of nice. Hopefully I can just chop down his Dragon Mage as well as his Dragon. Plus, not to mention, I also have Lair the Beast, which is one of my Paladins. That guy is kitted out for killing an individual duel, so I'm really looking forward to that combat taking place for the most part. So that part was kind of nice. After that, I pretty much just moved up my units. They're just their normal rune allowances for the most part. The Hussars of Riom, they march up forward so that way they can flank on the left-hand side and go after those war machines. I then also march up the Ravizan Guard because they're infantry, they're just foot slogging, so they gotta go their full edges to keep up the rest of my cavalry forces. I move those guys forward to protect their left-hand flank. And then I just move up the Blackstone Legion. I move what's left of my Knights of the Realm, and I also move up my Templars of the Dawn. And if you notice, if you're looking at this photo of the Knights of the Realm, you'll notice the units are much larger than what it is. And the reason why is because I made a mistake when I took Caledors. I forgot to roll for the Lady's Blessing, is what ended up happening. So my friend, graciously, Professor Valera, he allowed me to make those rolls for my ward saves. And that's the reason why it's not cut down in half for the most part. So here's a close-up of the Hussars of Riom. We're getting ready to move on the left-hand side and start engaging those bolt throwers because those things are the bane of my existence. And here's a close-up of the Ravizan Guard, as well as the Templars of the Dawn, the Pride of Linus, as well as the Blackstone Legion moving up, just moving up the normal rounds. And as you can see there in that photo there with the Knights of the Realm, I have 2 more Knights of the Realm that popped up. And the reason why is because as I was moving forward, I forgot that I had the Blessing of the Lady to roll for my ward saves. And I mentioned that when we were playing, and I was like, oh, well, that was my mistake. My friend Frisch was like, no, man, go ahead and roll for it. It's perfectly fine. It's cool. You're still learning your armies. So I was like, well, thank you very much. So because of my buddy Freshman's Row let me do that. So because I had 2 of them survive with their Blessing of the Ladies. So that's the reason why there's 2 more guys there, if you're wondering what that situation is. And of course, the back row, of course, the back left, the Bowman Barretts, they're just kind of standing their ground because they have defensive stakes. They really can't move. And here's a close-up of the right-hand flank charges. As you can see, the Silver Sentinels as well as the Darnay Rangers go directly into the Silent Striders in the middle there, as well as my Hedge Knights with Lair the Beast going directly into Lainel and Pyrite. So So in the magic phase, imagine you have a couple of spells in this one, which is kind of nice. The first thing I was able to do, of course, was to get off the spell, the Mist of Shalon, which is the boosted version of the Mist of Shalon. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with the spell for the new Warhammer Hour projects, on a 9-up, all friendly units within 12 inches of the caster are affected, and basically what ends up happening is that enemies targeting units must suffer -1 to hit with missile weapons, and it is a remain in place spell when you use the boosted version, which is really, really good because I needed that to protect my guys against being shot at. So that's what the little yellow dice represent, is that my opponent will have to make sure that he has -1 to hit against those missile shots. So my Ravazan Guard, my Templars of the Dawn, my Pride of Lioness, the Blackstone Legion, the Darnay Rangers, as well as the Silver Sentinels are completely protected by the Mist of Shalom. And of course I tried to cast Spiteful Glance, but unfortunately for me, Brush was not letting that happen, so that spell went away. However, I did manage to cast another spell. That spell is basically called a Doom of Dole. In case you're wondering what that is, it's a hex spell. You cast it on a 7-up, it's got a range of 18 inches, and what ends up happening is you name one enemy model to be doomed, and one friendly character or champion within that range to slay him. While the spell is effective, the chosen knight will wound on that model on a 2-up with no armor saves allowed whatsoever. So as you can see in this photo, I decided to cast on to my Paladin Lainel the Beasts, and he decides to target directly. The guy to be doomed is Lainel, because that way I can get through his armor saves, I can kill that guy, and then just straight up murder him in close combat. And that's pretty much what makes my magic phase for this one. So the magic phase over, to go directly to the shooting phase. And in the shooting phase, the Hussars of Rion was able to clink off one of the crew members from one of the reigns of Caledor, so that part was awesome. And my Bowmen of Brits were able to kill off 4 members of the Dawn Guard, which is all kinds of awesome as well. So with the shooting phase over with, to go directly to the combat phase. And in the combat phase, combat between Lainel as well as Pyrebrite against my Hedge Knights was pretty awesome, all things considered. So, Lainel the Beast had no problem whatsoever killing Lainel. Now, he suffers a wound for his troubles because of it, but Lainel is just totally just decapitated by Lainel of the Beast. So that part was epic. So I got 2 kills because of that. So when we rolled up on the monster reaction table, my friend first was level up for 5, so that way they have hatred as well as frenzy for his monsters. So that way he can stand his ground for the most part. In the end, I was able to put 4 more wounds directly onto Pyrites. So that part was really cool as well. And for the most part, he managed to kill 2 members of my Quest Knights as well. So that part was kind of rough. But you know, you can't fight a dragon and not take any losses whatsoever. All things considered, I got really, really lucky for the most part when it came to all of our attacks. The reason why is because he did try to do a Thunder Stomp. He directed his Thunder Stomp directly against my Paladin. Luckily for me, I made my armor saves on that one, and plus the Blessings of the Lady also really helped out as well. His flaming attack was kind of petered out. He only got 3 hits with his flaming attack breath. So once again, the Lady protects on that part, so that really helped out. So with my 2 wounds that I put on his champion, combined with the 4 wounds that I put on it for his dragon, alright, that brings a Rammet total to 6. I also have a rank, I also have a banner, and I also charge, which brings it up to 9. He killed 3 wounds, so because of that, he lost by 6. So needless to say, he has to take a break test, and so because that he does break and he flees as well, he flees back 11 inches, it puts him right at the table edge. So because of that, Pirate flies off the table, and nets me some juicy points. And I do a quick combat reform real quick to square off against the right-hand flank of the Silver Sentinels, and that part is awesome. As you guessed, the Silver Sentinel, my Silver Squires had no problem whatsoever taking out the Word Bearer, the Silence Rider. So because of that unit of Illyrian Reavers is destroyed, I like to run through and follow through as an overrun. As you can see there, I smashed directly with the Silver Squires against the Silver Sentinels. I'm really looking forward to that combat. At the same time, you can see that my Darnay Rangers have also run to the right-hand side to protect the back, as well as the right-hand flank of my army against the Word Bearers. And that pretty much makes the combat phase. So with combat phase over, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the High Elves.
Alright people, that takes us directly to the top of turn number 2 for the High Elves, and this photo is taken after the move phase, and I do apologize for the sound quality earlier. I thought I had my microphone plugged in. Looks like the USB got a little loose on that one, so I was actually recording on the internal microphone. So once again, I do apologize for the sound quality on that. So as you can see on this photo, what ended up happening is that the High Elves, for my friend First Prince Belair, he just kind of moves up his forces kind of gingerly. Most of his infantry forces stay exactly where they're located at. What he does do, however, is he marches up his Phoenix Guard. So because of the Ever Wardens cut through the forest and then hook a left, so that way they're right in the middle of the battlefield, so that way it kind of negates the charges for most of my cavalry forces going right there in the center. Now I will be able to skirt his Everwardens by charging directly into his softer unit of Dawn Guard with my Blackstone Legion. So that part's kind of nice. However, I won't be able to get coordinated strikes like I wanted to with both my Knights of the Templars of the Dawn as well as my Pride of Lioness. So because of that, that is kind of a problem as well. He also decides to charge in his Word Bearers on the right-hand side. They go directly into what's left of my Darny Rangers as well. And that pretty much makes his move phase for this one. So here's a close-up of his Phoenix Guard moving up forward as quick as they can in order to get into a good blocking position to preserve his Lord Master's blades. And here's a close-up of his Word Bearers charging directly into the Darny Rangers as well. And that pretty much makes up his move phase for this one. So the move phase over with, you go directly to the magic phase. And during the magic phase, he was able to cast Life Bloom off directly onto the Silver Sentinels as well, which basically what that does, it allows his unit to have a 5-up regen save against my Silver Squire. So that part was kind of nuts. I was unable to stop that spell because he was able to cast that spell irresistibly by miscasting 6 on that bad boy.
Klaatu, Marata.
So because of that, we send the small round blast template directly over Tytos Lainel, the Lore Master of Caledor, and it causes a massive explosion. However, this unit also has the Banner of the Word Dragon, which means that they have a 2-up ward save against magical attacks, and this magical blast is a magical attack, so because that, he doesn't lose anybody in the process. So kudos to my opponent. It does end his magic phase prematurely, but, you know, there was a breaks, I guess. So with magic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase, and the Mist of Shalone really helped out in this battle, in this part of the battlefield. He does concentrate fire with his archers, firing with the Dawn Guard, as well as all the 3 remaining Reigns of Caledor he has. He concentrates fire with all those bolt fire shots directly into the Pride of Lioness. He decides to do multiple shots at all 3 of his Reigns of Caledor, and luckily for me though, that -1 to hit really helped out a lot. He actually missed a lot of his shots because of it, and the ones that did manage to hit, I was able to armor save, or I was able to use the Lady Blessings of the Lady in order to stop that from happening. So it's really nice seeing that that actual roll breaks down. Now, granted, my unit does not only have strength, which is kind of sad. They passed their panic check though, but everything's cool with that. So from there we go directly to the combat phase. As you can see in this photo, the Silver Squires did an excellent job against the Silver Sentinels. Managed to kill 5 of those guys right off the bat, which is all kinds of awesome. Even with their ward save from the regen that they had, it really didn't do much of anything for them. Luckily for me, of course, my guys managed to survive without any hits whatsoever, and the reason why is because that Blessing the Lady with a 6-up ward save actually saved me pretty well on this one. My dice were on fire in this part of the battle report, so because of that, I killed 5 of his as well. I got 2 rank bonuses on top of that, so because of that, I beat him by 7, so he has to take a break test, and he breaks. I pursue forward 8 inches, and I run down the rest of the Silver Sentinels, killing those guys to last man, which is all kinds of awesome. Now it kind of frees up my advance to the right-hand flank, and hopefully I can catch him in a full envelopment now, which will be all kinds of awesome. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of the turn for the Bretonnians. Alright, so that takes us directly to the bottom of turn number 2 for the Bretonnians on this one, and of course I charge forward. First thing I do, of course, I declare a charge with my Blackstone Legion. They go skirting right past the Everwardens and smash directly into the front of the Dawn Guard. I then declare a charge with my Hedge Knights. They go directly into the right-hand flank of the Dawn Guard as well, catching them in a double attack, which is all kinds of awesome. After that, I also declare a charge with the rest of the Pride of Lioness as well as the Templars of the Dawn. They go directly into the Everwardens, engaging those guys in close combat as well. And I also charge in my Hussars of Riom directly into one of the bolt throwers from the Reigns of Caledor, which is all kinds of awesome as well. Now, for the rest of my remaining moves, I just basically do a 180 with my Silver Sentinel, so that way they can square off against the Word Bearers there on the right-hand side. And if you're wondering what ended up happening to my 3 remaining yeomen from the Darny Rangers, I forgot to talk about the combat phase. Those guys got killed the last man, which is kind of sad. Always strike first really helped out the High Elves on that one. But then again, they're also fighting yeomen, so go figure. I then march up my Ravizan Guard to move them up directly to the forest to protect the left-hand flank of my cavalry forces. And of course, the Bowmen Barrettes, they just stand their ground because they have defensive stakes, so they really can't move. So with the move phase over with, let's go and talk about the close-ups real quick. So here's a close-up of the Hussars of Rion, getting ready to bring the pain directly to one of the Reigns of Caledor, and I'm super excited about that because those bolt throwers terrify me. And here's a close of that beautiful coordinated charge from my Templars of the Dawn as well as the Pride of Lioness going directly into Everwardens with the Ravizan Guard moving up to protect them on the left-hand flank. And here's a close-up of that beautiful coordinated attack from my Blackstone Legion as well as from my Hedge Knights going directly into the Dawn Guard, which is all kinds of awesome as well. And finally, here's a close-up of the Silver Sentinels turning 180 so that way they can square off against the Word Bearers at a later time. So the move phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. So during the magic phase, basically the powder monkey returns on this one, which is all kinds of awesome. I actually had a pretty dominant magic phase on this one. I managed to get 12 power dice, my opponent only had 6. So because I was able to get out Spiteful Glance directly onto his general, Lord Tywin Lainel, the warden of Caledor, I managed to put that guy directly into a powder monkey, so I killed his general and earned those wonderful, wonderful points. And finally, I was able to cast the spell Lady's Virtue of Valor, managed to get that one off, and when I rolled for the number of stats that got affected, I rolled a 6 on that one. Now, in case you're unfamiliar how that spell works, what ends up happening is that you roll a d6, and the number that you roll is the number of characteristics that are improved by 1. So because of that, my Pride of Lioness, they get +1 to their weapon skill, initiative, strength, toughness, attack, as well as their leadership as well, which is all kinds of awesome. At the same time, I also pop in the lore attribute too, where I can reroll 1s for my ward saves for the Lady Blessings of the Lady, because of the lore attribute that this spell presents. So with the magic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. And the shooting phase, my bowman birds had no problem whatsoever just atomizing what was left of the word bearers, managed to kill those 5 Illyrian Reavers at the same time, which is all kinds of awesome. So the shooting phase over with, we go directly to the combat phase. So in the combat phase, left-hand flank, the Hussars of Riom was able to kill off the one of the Brains of Caledor they charged into. They overrun directly to the second set of bolt throwers, and I'm super excited to see exactly how that one goes. And combat over here between the Ever Wardens as well as the Pride of Lioness was also awesome as well. My opponent decided to direct most of his attacks directly towards my character, Rapunzel de Lioness. She was able to survive most of the attacks they provided against her, which is all kinds of awesome. Unfortunately, I also lose 2 members of the Pride of Lioness, which was really sad. But between the combined attacks of my Templars of Dawn, as well as from my Pride of Lioness, I was able to kill 10 Phoenix Guards, which is all kinds of awesome. So with my combined charges and the casualties I cause, they break. I overrun and pursue and destroy them, and because of that, I overrun directly. So because of that, the Pride of Lioness goes directly into the Dawn Guard on the right-hand side, and the Templars of the Dawn go directly into the Lord Master's Blades. So that part was all kinds of epic as well. Meanwhile, over here on the right-hand side, the battle between the Dawn Guard as well as my 2 units of the Blackstone Legion as well as the Hedge Knights was all kinds of awesome. I declare a challenge with my general, which of course my opponent, First Prince Belletti, decides to answer with Tanis Lainel. My general, Remy de Appion, had no problem whatsoever killing that guy. So because I killed her, First Prince Belletti's Battle Standard Bearer, which is all kinds of cool. When it was all said and done between the combat between us, I managed to lose one of my questing knights from the Hedge Knights. At the same time, I kill a huge amount of High Elves from the Dawn Guard. Needless to say, of course, I won this combat, no problem whatsoever. My friend Freshman's Player has to take a break test with these guys, and they break. They flee off the edge of the table. I decide to test Restrain for both my Questing Knights as well as for my Grail Knights, as well as for my Knights of the Realm. All 3 of those units manage to pass that. They do a quick combat reform to square off against the right-hand flank of the Lord Master's Blades. At this point, that my friend First Prince Belletti decides to call the game because he knows he's not going to be able to pull it off in the win, so it brings us another victory for the Blackstone Crusade of the Bretonnians. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we go directly to the After Action Report because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Sure, I could have stayed in the past. Could have even been king. But in my own way, I am king.
Hail to the king, baby.
Alright, now it's time for the After Action Report. This is part of the battle report. We talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn for the next time that we do battle. This is the After Action Report for the Golden Age Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report 104, and this one ended up being a victory for yours truly. I managed to score 2,588 victory points, while my opponent, First Prince Belletti, was only able to score 120 points. For my losses, I lost the Darney Rangers as well as the Chasseurs of Le Havre. My friend First Prince Belletti, he lost Lord Tywin Lainel, the Warden of Caledor, Tanis Lainel, the Captain of the Dawn Guard, Russell Lainel, and Pyrite, the Silver Sentinels, the Word Bearers, the Silent Striders, the Lord Master's Blades, the Ever Wardens, and 1 Eagle Claw Bloat Thrower from the Reigns of Caledor. And everything about a Bretonnian army so far is absolutely amazing. It is fast, it hit hard, and it's also durable. It has high moving characteristics, good strength when they charge, they have excellent armor save, and great ward save combos against range attacks, which is really, really nice. You combine these elements with the Lord of the Lady, and the Bretonnians are absolutely devastating. Lucky for me, I've been pretty lucky so far in getting my charges against my enemies first. However, I can see how a Bretonnian army can run into some problems if they get countercharged. That'd be really, really bad as well, because cavalry units being charged against is always a bad thing for cavalry units for the most part. Plus, I was really lucky in my fight against Lainel and Pyrite. That Sun Dragon's Fire Breath was very destructive, but my armor save and ward saves was what saved my Hedge Knights from being destroyed, which is really cool. Not to mention, Pyrite only got one hit with his Thunderstomp into my Paladin Lyre of the Beast. That really helped out a lot too. Mist of Shalons also really helped out from getting shot to pieces from the Reigns of Caledor, and so that part really helped out for the second time, especially when I started remembering the rules for my ward saves from the Blessings of the Lady. A real weakness though is the small number of miniatures I have in my units. My Knights are really powerful, but I only have a few of them, and when they take a hit, it's really telling. Like for example, my Knights of the Realm, I lost half that unit really quickly, and they were not as effective in close combat because of it, so I do have to worry about that as well. And I might have to do something different. My level 2 wizard Corbin of the Ravens, he's okay and all, but he's a nice scroll caddy, but in terms of what his spells can do, he really doesn't do much of anything. So I'm actually thinking about changing up his loadout for his spells. I might equip him with the Lore of Life in order to help solve my problem of losing my Knights. Maybe then he can cast spells in order to bring back wounded models. I think that'd be really helpful as well. So I'm actually thinking about changing up his lore attributes as well as the lore that he uses as well. In the end though, I'm still loving this army. It's performing extremely well. I really like the way that the Bretonnian meshes really well. And this game was an absolutely fantastic game against an awesome opponent. And as always, I am looking forward to the rematch. So that's good for this one, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this one, you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and stay classy.